All right, and here we go. So, as you can see, I am Betsy Bird, and for some reason, somebody has given me my own little show of my own. I would like to thank Travis Jonker, who helped me out with that little opening sequence over there. Thank you, Travis. That was very, very cool. Today, well, I should explain to you what this kind of show is. So this is going to be a mix of different things. There's going to be a little video portion at the beginning, and then the second half, I'm going to interview somebody incredibly cool on a variety of different topics. Here in New York City, I do a series called the Children's Literary Salon, where I talk to people on a bunch of different topics regarding children's literature and YA literature. And that's kind of what this is going to be. This is just going to be me talking to people, talking on different types of topics. Today, I am joined by two utterly fabulous authors. Authors that you simply... you could not find anywhere else. They are magnificent. The first author who is joining us today is Co Booth. Why don't you say hi, Co, so the Google thing picked up on it.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Yes. So we have Co, and then of course we also are being joined by the other author, Kekla Magoon. Kekla, can you say hello to the nice people?
Hi, everyone.
Excellent. All right. So. First and foremost, I would like to talk about the books that you two have written fairly recently. One of you has written a book called Kinda Like Brothers, and the other person has written a book called How It Went Down. Co, could you start us off and tell us a little bit about your book?
Okay, I don't have a book on hand, so I have a picture of my book on my iPad. My book is called Kinda Like Brothers, and it's the story of 11-year-old Jarrett, whose mom is a foster mother. And so this has been going on his whole life. He's used to having kids come and go out of his life all the time. But this particular night, a new baby arrives, and her older brother, who's 12. And now Jarrett, oh, here's a real book now. And now Jarrett, who's, you know, only child for the most part, has to share his room with this new foster brother, Kevin, and it's basically the story of the two boys and their difficult friendship / brotherhood or whatever, and how they get along for about a month or so in the summer.
Very good. And Kekla, can you talk a bit about your book?
Yep. Here is How It Went Down. It is about a controversial shooting, such as has happened a lot recently in the news. In this book, it's a fictional incident. Tariq Johnson, a 17-year-old boy, is shot by a white man in his neighborhood in circumstances that are controversial. So there are several eyewitnesses who don't agree on what exactly happened, who had a gun and who shot first, and what exactly went down. And so the book is a multiple viewpoint novel, and about 19 different characters within the story tell about what they think happened and their perspective on the incident. You have Tariq's best friend, Tyrell, who now feels alone walking through the neighborhood. You have Jenica, a girlfriend of one of the gang members in the community, who witnesses Tariq's shooting and tries to revive him, and then finds herself sort of haunted by the fact that she couldn't bring him back. And Tariq's little sister, who's 10 and trying to understand the loss of her brother. You have a minister who's come in from the national sort of scene to sort of preside over the media hoopla that goes on around this shooting. And so my idea here was to look at some of the issues that occur in the real live media today, and then to try to get behind some of those headlines and behind some of those sound bites that we all see going by in the newspapers and going by on TV, and try to understand what would really happen in a community after such a shooting, and how the individual people who really knew the kid who was killed would respond and react in those days and weeks after such a thing happens.
Great. Now, both of you are writing books that deal with just real kids, reality, real kids, and you both have always written books about real kids. Now, earlier this year, Walter Dean Myers wrote the New York Times article, "Where are the people of color in children's books?" Which in turn sort of inspired the We Need Diverse Books campaign. Then Walter died, and everyone started asking who the quote-unquote new Walter would be. Mm-hmm. Now, you guys actually write about African-American boys. Now, I think I counted last year. Neither of you had any middle grade books coming out last year. And I counted 7 African-American boys in any middle grade books. That's not counting YA. There were YA books as well. Mm-hmm. But basically, what's your take on Walter's legacy? And where do you think We Need Diverse Books is going? And are you the new Walter?
Oh.
No pressure.
Yeah. No, that's too much pressure. Yeah, I hope this the We Need Diverse Books becomes something that's meaningful and that it doesn't just come and go as another hashtag, because it is so important. It's so hard. I take my nephews to the bookstore, and it's just so hard to find something that they connect with and that they relate to. And I just wish there was so many more choices for them so that they can get into reading, because right now they really don't like to read very much. So I hope it does become something. I don't know about becoming the next Walter, but I think there are a lot of there's some up and coming writers who are the person who comes to mind right now is Jason Reynolds. I think he's
I love him.
Yeah, I think he can be the voice of the next generation. But they're I don't know about becoming the next Walter Dean, though. I think he stands on his own.
Yeah, I agree. Walter is, has given us all great footsteps to follow, and I really hope that actually there will be a lot of sort of next Walters. And I think there's I think perhaps a challenge or a problem in sort of hoping that there's going to be a next Walter, that it's just going to be one person that sort of steps into those footsteps. I would like to hope that many of us will have the opportunity to, sort of achieve the commercial success and critical acclaim that he has achieved, and that I think there are quite a few people that can follow in his footsteps in our own way. So clearly Walter's legacy is bigger sort of than sort of we can sort of necessarily aspire to, but yet I think we all sort of do aspire to it. And I think that we don't necessarily want to be the next Walter, but we want to make the kind of impact that Walter made on the lives of young readers, on the community of children's literature, sort of in our own way. So hopefully we can all sort of rise in the way that Walter rose, and I think that a lot of his work, certainly as a mentor to other writers, to me and to others that I know, a lot of his work was about trying to bring other voices into the mix, and so that he, I think, saw himself as leading perhaps a movement, as was evidenced in that New York Times article, and as is evidenced by the people who, sort of the community's response to his passing. But I think that there's many opportunities that both the industry can sort of take and that we as writers can take to try to further the work that he and many others, have started. And I do hope that there will be more than one next Walter.
We need more than one. That would be the best thing to come from this, is that there are several people who are following in his footsteps. Because we all have different experiences to bring. There is no one African American experience, and we need many voices to sort of show the to show the complete picture of what it is. So I hope there's a lot more Walter Deans in the
A whole
future.
crop of Walters, yeah.
Yes.
Now, to get to your book specifically, I'm going to generalize a bit here, so bite off my head if this sounds wrong to you. But what I have noticed is that when men write female characters, a few people will raise their eyebrows or say that the characters don't sound like girls. But it doesn't come up all that often. But I often hear when a woman writes from a boy's point of view, they are accused of, oh, you don't sound enough like a boy. You both write about boys quite a lot, not exclusively, but quite a lot. Have you ever faced people saying such things? And why do you like writing boys?
I'm gonna let Kekla start this time.
Well, I mean, I guess if I think about it, I would say I kind of do half and half in terms of my main characters and point of view characters. I like How It Went Down itself has boy and girl characters or male and female characters. But I think actually what I get more often is almost the opposite thing, where people are like, oh, you're a woman, but you can write, this really sounds like a boy, kind of coming from a place of surprise, which is actually it's the same criticism, right, that like a woman shouldn't be able to write the way a boy sounds, but they're going, oh, you actually did this thing that's not actually possible, or that we don't expect to happen. And so I've gotten that comment more so than sort of hearing that it doesn't sound like a boy. I mean, I've been told by a lot of guys, oh, this really sounds like a boy. Kind of, how did you do that? And I think I think we can write either gender. I think we have to kind of step outside of some of the gendered expectations, because I think there are boys that think all different kinds of ways, and in the same way that we need lots of voices of black characters and lots of voices of characters of color from different experiences, I think we also need different expressions of gender in our books, and not to necessarily classify books as boy books and girl books. And some of my books that have girl characters, like Camo Girl, boys love that book because there's a boy character in that book that they really love. And so it's not necessarily the gendered barrier, I think, that we often think it is. I think kids will read outside their experience, and they want different expressions of gender.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I get a lot more praise almost because I guess stepped outside of my gender and wrote a book as in a boy's voice. They're like, wow, that's really cool, or how do you do that? And I don't even know how I did it either, because I always wanted to be a girl book writer. I always say I wanted to be the Black Judy Blume. I wanted to write books about girls getting their first bras, and I never ever thought I would write a book from a boy's point of view. And now I just really enjoy it, because it's just like, it's so just it's satisfying. I don't know. It's something about being able to step into somebody else's body and just pretend to be a boy and kind of get into it, that it's fun for me. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a different way to experience the world to me. It's in a boy's eyes, and I really enjoy it very much. But I think I will go back and write girls too. I've only written one girl book so far, but I think I'll try it again someday.
Well, I'm so glad you wrote a middle grade, because I've been waiting for a co-booth middle grade so long. So when this book came out, I was like, yes. Ooh, finally. Well, and I wish I could talk to you for so long, but I have to keep you guys short today. So tell me what you're working on next. What do you guys got in the pipeline?
I am working on another YA. It's just in the beginning stages, so I'm not sure what it will be yet, but I'm thinking on paper. That's as much as I have right now, so I don't know what it is.
Okay. And Kekla?
It's very cool.
Well, I have the next two books that I have. One is called X, a novel, and it's a novel about Malcolm X as a teenager that is written by Ilyasa Shabazz, who is Malcolm X's third daughter, and I helped her with that book, and that's coming out in January. So there's another male perspective book, which has the added sort of adventure of writing about a real historical character from a first-person point of view. So that was quite an experience, but I really enjoyed the challenge of getting into the head of somebody so who would become so well known and have such an impact on the world. So I'm really excited for that book to come out in January, and then I'm doing another biracial girl character, and it's going to be it's called Shadows of Sherwood. It's the first in my Robin Hoodlum Adventures series, coming out in summer, I guess August 2015. So that is middle grade fantasy, and it's a Robin Hood story about a biracial girl in the city.
Very, very cool. Well, I'd like to thank you both for joining us today, and I would like again to mention what their books are. So, Co Booth is the author of Kinda Like Brothers, a middle grade book that is out this year, and Kekla Magoon is the author of How It Went Down, a YA book that is out this year. And thank you both guys so much for talking to me today. And,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just to go through a little bit of housekeeping in the future, we're going to have Fuse 8 TV episodes on a visit to the Eric Carle Museum, give you a quickie tour there, as well as an interview with a super secret guest who will be announced at some point. Just to go through my slides here as well, let's see what we got here. Yes, I would like to very, very much thank my sponsor, which was Scholastic this month, who set us up with Talking with Co. You can find Kinda Like Brothers on your shelves right now. It has gotten a lot of great attention, and it is a really fabulous read. I highly recommend it. And let's see here. Oh yes, don't forget that you can get School Library Journal through your iPad. You can get it virtually these days. So if you have any interest in doing that, and I don't see why you wouldn't, go right ahead and get that. And finally, thank you so much for watching, and we'll hopefully see you again. Bye.
Bye.